Hi friends, it's Queen Alita and I'm back today with a prophetic message based on a dream that I had on January 30th. This is tied to the video that I did yesterday. I had recorded yesterday like I promised, and my system bombed out. The opposition that I've been having with this video has been crazy. I didn't want to just be like, oh, the devil is fighting me. You know how we so quick to just be like, rebuking the devil. Meanwhile, God could be saying, yeah, I kind of don't want you to do this right now. So I had to quickly check what was going on. But I know that it's the enemy attacking because even now I started recording this. This is the second time I'm attempting this recording today. Yesterday I attempted it once. It bombed out. It was a mess. So this is the second time today, and I'm just praying that everything stays together. I did say a quick prayer, but I just wanted to welcome you all back to the channel. So good to be back on here with you guys, and I want to welcome you if you're new. If this is your first time seeing me, you are so welcome to this channel. I do have a quick disclaimer to share with you before I get into today's message, so stick around for that. And for the rest of you, if you know what I'm talking about with the disclaimer, you can just skip ahead using the time markers in the description below. So, if you're new, it's important to note that not every prophetic message that I share on this channel is meant for you. You have to have a relationship with the Lord so that you can take it back to Him and ask Him if you're getting excited over something that's for you or not for you, because our flesh can really deceive us and mislead us. So, it's important that you are always in tune with the will of the Lord over your life and you're not overstepping or moving ahead of Him, okay? And I know that for some of you, this is going to be a confirming message. And if you have any questions about this message, if you want to know more, make sure that you take it all back to Him. He has the full story for you, okay? It's about building that relationship with Him, okay? So, like I said, this is linked to the video that I did yesterday. I don't think it's necessarily a prerequisite for you to watch the video if you haven't. I was just confessing some things there and just sharing some revelations that the Lord gave me. But this is one of the dreams that led me to that point of actually doing that video yesterday. And I do feel led today to share the dream, at least most of the dream. It is a long dream, so I'm going to share so that you get an understanding of what the dream was about. And then I'm going to go into the message, okay? I know this is going to be for some of you. So, yeah, I'm excited to share that. I also just want to say before I get going on that, thank you so much for all just the positivity in the comment section under yesterday's video. It's never easy to admit that you're not a perfect person, that you're heading down a wrong path, that, you're just not doing a good thing. So it really did encourage me to just see the overwhelming amount of positivity, and even the comments that did hurt my feelings or made me not feel so good. I really also appreciate those, because even through that there's just a lot of learning and understanding myself and growing and being able to navigate when I do get things that make me feel like I'm being attacked, even though it may not even be an attack. So I'm just grateful for the all-around response, and I'm thankful for everybody's prayers. This is a journey for me, and I'm loving this journey, and I'm never gonna come here and act like I'm perfect, knowing that I'm not. But anyway, let's get into the message. Oh, let me share the dream first. So this was one of those dreams that when I woke up, I was a little bit distressed. I was a little bit worried. But in the dream, I was in this place that was not my real world. It was another dimension, like another realm. The best way I can describe it is that it reminded me very much, it felt very much like the movie The Chronicles of Narnia, when they translate into this different realm, right? If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. You may have read the books, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it felt like that in the dream, and I was walking around this particular city or neighborhood. It was just all these different scenarios that I was seeing, and each scenario seemed like some kind of a fantasy. and it wasn't only just my fantasies, it was other people's worlds, other people's fantasies, kind of all these created scenarios, right? And it seemed like a place of escape. I think that's the best way to put it. I remember seeing a particular family member as well there, because it wasn't just me. This, I know that this message is not just for me, it's for many of us. It's one of those dreams where God is like, this is for you and everybody else. I tend to have dreams where it's just for you guys and I come here and I share the message. Sometimes the dreams are just for me and I don't come on here and I share, and sometimes they're for all of us. This is for many of us, okay? I remember seeing a particular family member, and she was kind of doing something like hiding in this little basket thing full of leaves. It looked very comforting to her, and when she saw that I saw her, she looked at me like, please don't tell my husband that this is where I go to escape, kind of thing. So it was like this kind of a place of escape, and I was at a point where I was ready to get out of there. I knew that I had to come back to reality, and I really wanted out. The dream sort of shifted me into a place where I was with friends. It was still in this other realm, but I was with some friends that I know in waking life, really good friends, amazing people in Christ that I've come to know over the last few years, awesome people. And I was with them, and I was just kind of in their life, helping them with a few things. And there was somebody else there who I was also helping with something, just getting involved in people's things, but also realizing that I needed to get out of there. Now, the way to get out of this realm was to stand against the wall, but like in the corner of the wall, right? Like right in that corner space. So I did that. I stood against that wall in the crease of that corner, if I can call it that. And the way to get out was to knock twice, just to do a quick double tap. So I did the double tap, and then I did it again. The second time was impulsive. It was like, come on, I want to get out of here. But just before I did the second knocking, the second double tap, I could already feel and hear the sounds in the wall, like this magical sound, almost like the Matrix kind of thing. I could hear all of that, and I knew, okay, I'm about to get back to reality. I'm coming out of this place. This is not home. This is not where I should be. I just want to get to my life. And I felt all that starting to happen, all the tingling and the sounds, and I knew that that wall was God in a sense, or at least God was in the wall. I don't know how to describe it, but I knew that he was the one transporting me out of this place and into my real life. So when I double tapped the second time, out of just impulsiveness, maybe impatience, maybe just being forward, everything shut down. It was just like God said, nope, not gonna happen. So I start to panic. My friends want to help me. One of them said, okay, I'll stand against the wall. He stood against the wall, and he's like, okay, then you stand in front of me and we can all go together so that we can get you there. We can all get out of here, kind of thing. And I remember saying, okay, that's good, let's do that. But in my heart, knowing this is trickery, this is not going to cut it. And he knocked on the wall, nothing happened. Then I obviously started panicking even more, and I said a quick prayer. I knelt down and I was praying, repenting, saying sorry God. And then I stood against the wall again, and nothing. And I slowly started to realize that I was going to be there, that I was stuck, that there was no getting out of there, that this wasn't going to, like, no amount of trickery and shenanigans, no quick prayer was going to get me out of there. This required more work. This required me to spend some time. I just knew that I was going to be there for 7 days. The dream ended with me saying, oh, I'm going to be here for 7 days. And I also knew in the dream that my real life, where I was trying to get to, was on pause. Everything was on pause. It was exactly the same as the movie The Chronicles of Narnia, where whenever they escaped into this other world, what was happening in the real world didn't continue without them. It's like everything paused there, like time froze, and when they came back, they would resume from where they left off. It felt like that in the dream as well. So I woke up from that dream feeling like God was upset with me. He hadn't let me go back. He shut it down. Why did he shut it down? And it's taken, like I said, I had this dream January 30th. So all since then, certain things have happened. God has ministered to me in very, very interesting and profound ways. As you can see, I have a huge smile on my face because I'm just excited for what God is doing in our lives. Now, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's get into these notes so that we get everything that we need to get from this. Now, let me do this. Sorry, y'all. So, the first thing that I want to say is that God is waking his people up. He's waking his people up from their daydream, from their fantasy. What is this fantasy? This fantasy is something that you have been living in for a very long time. It's a place of escape. It's all the things you do to not have to live in this life that God has given you, because it's just difficult. You've been dealt some really difficult cards and you have questioned God. Why did I have to have this life? Why did my life have to turn out like this? Why did I have to be such a victim of witchcraft? Why was I such a target? And you've just really struggled, and because of it, you have created an escape for yourself. For some of you, it's literal fantasies where you fantasize a life outside of where you are just so you can escape from your current reality. For some of you, it's living in the past, thinking and hoping and wishing you could have made better decisions. If only I hadn't said yes to this person, if only I hadn't gone down that particular path, if only. And for some of you, it's like this pain of realizing that the life that you thought you would have hasn't happened. You woke up one day and you're like, this is not what I wanted it to look like. I wanted to have this by this age, that by that age, and be this and that and the other thing, and it hasn't turned out that way at all. So you're living in this fantasy where you are trying to figure out why it didn't happen. You're angry with yourself. There's just a lot going on. And if this message is for you today in the season, you are reaching a point in your journey because your identity has been affirmed. You know who you are in Christ Jesus. You are reaching a point in your journey where you realize you cannot continue in a certain fashion. You cannot continue in the way that you've been for all these years. Now, while I'm being vulnerable, since I was yesterday, I will share a little bit with you guys how God has been helping me in this particular process. There's a persona that I've carried for a long time, okay? The ego. I've had this ego, just like we all have. We all create an ego. It's all part of our fantasy, right? It's all a part of the mask. It's all part of how we present ourselves. So we all have that. But the way God was showing me is that I needed to recognize it and rebuke it and literally say, you cannot lead me anymore. You cannot be my guide anymore. You cannot be my representative. You cannot advise me. You cannot speak to me. You cannot protect me. You cannot help me. You've tried all these years. That's what you've been trying to do, and things haven't gone well. So I am choosing now to believe what God is saying to me, about my identity, that I can trust him to protect me, to guide me, to lead me, to speak to me and show me the way of life, and to comfort me and to protect me. I don't need to rely on this false thing that I put forward, this mask that says to me, well, I'm protecting you from rejection, from being hurt by people. I don't need that anymore. And it's like it was such a profound revelation for me that I don't know how to describe it in words that you could really understand the depth of how freeing it's been to every day rebuke this ego. I did have one prayer session where I went into it and I was like, I'm not partnering with this anymore. I am who God says I am. The Lord even took me back to this name that has been a very interesting subject matter on this channel. He took me back to why he gave me the name Alita. I've had a lot of opposition with that name, and that tells me that the devil is not happy. And he took me back to that and reminded me, said, go back. I want you to go back and write down what this name means. And I did that. And he's like, now I want you to embody it. I want you to remember every time someone says Alita, every time someone calls you Alita, they're saying you are this. And he put it to me in terms of, sorry guys, there's an itch here, with Abraham, how Abraham's name meant father of many nations, father of many sons and daughters. So every time someone said Abraham, they were saying, hey, you, father of many nations. So he said, every time someone says Alita, they're saying, hey, you chosen one, you of noble character, you high and excellent one. So I had to really sit in that and understand what God was saying to me and begin to rebuke the old, that mask that I had put on, that other persona, which was literally a spirit. It was a very spiritual thing. So it's been daily saying things like, the ego would have done this, but Alita does this. The ego was afraid, but I'm not afraid. I have nothing to fear in this world. Really fully understanding that I have absolutely nothing to fear. Mind blowing. I'm like, why have I not gotten this before? Being able to fully trust God and knowing that I don't have to have control of a single thing has been so freeing. So I don't want to make this too long, people. It's been such a beautiful process. And I think I'm actually going to do a second video so that it's not too long. But before I end this one and go into the rest of the dream, I'll share the rest of the interpretation of the dream in the next video. The Lord has been working on you, and He wants you to come out of this fantasy, this daydream that you've been in, that you've used as a protection, right? You've been stuck in this world that's not real. It's a created reality that makes you feel good, that gives you this false sense of I'm okay, and you really aren't. Where you've been seemingly doing meaningful things. Remember in the dream, I was there with my friends, helping them with stuff, and I just needed to get out of there, right? So something has to change. A change is needed. You know it. You can feel it. It is time for that change now. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what that change is, how God wants you to go about it, and what it's going to look like. It's exciting stuff, guys. I'm really excited for you. So stay tuned for the next video. And always remember that God is a good Father. He loves you so much because you, my friends, are so deeply special to Him.